Good morning students, how are you all? I hope you all are doing well, right? I am Rachel Vincent and your mathematics teacher. We have already interacted with each other during the online interactive sessions. So come, let's make maths more interesting. Dear students, I hope you all are ready for today's class. Yes? Okay, let's start by doing a small warm-up activity. Okay? I want you all to rub your palms together and place it over your eyes. Let's repeat it again. Rub your palms gently and place it over your eyes. Yes, so now our mind is calm and ready for the class, yes? We have already completed 6 chapters. Now we will be going to the 7th chapter, that is Introduction to Algebra. Yes, so let's start the class. So we know that there are 2 branches of mathematics. First is arithmetic, and you all are aware of it. Arithmetic deals with numbers and mathematical operations. Now let's go to algebra. Today's video will be about algebra. Algebra deals with numbers, symbols and letters which form mathematical relations, and it also helps us in finding the unknown value. So under algebra, we will be talking about identifying patterns, variables and constants, algebraic expressions. Under algebraic expressions, we will be talking about conversion of statement to expressions and vice versa, terms, factors and coefficients. After that, we will learn about operations on algebraic terms, that is addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. We will also learn about types of algebraic expressions, that are monomial, binomial, trinomial and polynomial. Algebra also helps us in finding the value of an expression. Lastly, we will talk about generalization of algebra, that is how algebra is used in almost every aspect of mathematics. So first, under algebra we will learn about identifying patterns. So what are patterns? Pattern is a series or sequence of things that repeats itself. So here we will form few patterns of triangles using toothpick. Before that, we will first form a table representing number of triangles and the number of toothpicks required to form these triangles. So let's form the first triangle. So here we can see that for one triangle, 3 toothpicks required. So in the table we will write 1 triangle and the number of toothpicks required is 3. Now let's make 2 triangles. This is the first. This is the second. So here we can see that there are 2 triangles together. So to form 2 triangles, number of toothpicks required are 6. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So in the table we will put it as follows. 2 under number of triangles and 6 under number of toothpicks. Now let's form 3 triangles together. So here we can see that for 3 triangles together we require 9 toothpicks. 3 here, 3 for the second and 3 for the last triangle. So in the table we will put it as follows. For 3 number of triangles we require 9 toothpicks. So we formed the patterns of triangles using toothpick. We made a table and in the table we had put the values as for number of triangles 1, 2 and 3, number of toothpicks required is 3, 6 and 9. So when we notice the table carefully, we observe that the number of toothpicks are increasing by 3. So when we move from first triangle to the second, there is an increase of 3. Again, when we move from second triangle to the third, there is again an increase of 3. So now let's form a relation between the number of triangles and the number of toothpicks. So as we noticed in the table, for one triangle we require 3 toothpicks. So we can multiply 1 by a certain number so that we reach 3. So 1 will be multiplied by, yes, 1 can be multiplied by 3. So that we get the answer as 3 under number of toothpicks. Similarly, we saw that for 2 triangles, the number of toothpicks required are 6. So we should multiply 2 again by 3 so that we get the answer as 6. Now, for 3 triangles, the number of toothpicks required are 9. So what will we do? We will multiply 3 by, yes, we will multiply 3 by 3 so that we get the answer as 9. So here we notice that the number of triangles or the value of the number of triangles is changing. It is not same, but the value by which it is multiplied is same. That is, 3 is constant. So here we notice that the value for the number of triangles is changing. That is, first it is 1, then 2 and then 3. So we can term the number of triangles as n. And we also notice that the value by which the number of triangles are multiplied to find the number of toothpicks is same or constant, that is 3. The number 3 is multiplied by 1, by 2 and by 3, right? So from this we can form a general rule or a general relation. Since we have termed number of triangles as n, so we can say that when we multiply 3 by n, we can find the number of toothpicks required for n number of triangles. We notice the same relation for 2 number of triangles and for 3 number of triangles. So we can say that the same rule follows. From this it is concluded that if we want to find the number of toothpicks used or required to form n number of triangles, we can use the general rule of 3n. Okay, so now let's form a new pattern, that is pattern of squares. So as done before, here also we will form a table representing the number of squares and the number of toothpicks required for these squares. So now let's start by making first square. So here, as you can see, I used 4 toothpicks to form one square. So we can put it in table. One square requires 4 toothpicks. Okay, now let's do for 2 squares. Now you can see that when we are making 2 squares, the number of toothpicks used are, let's count together, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. So here we notice that 7 toothpicks are required to form 2 squares. Now let us do the same to form a pattern of 3 squares. Just count while I put the toothpicks. 1, 2, 3 and 4. First square is ready. Let's do for the second square. 5, 6, 7. Our second square is ready. Now for the third square. 8, 9 and 10. So as we count it together, we notice that for 3 squares we require 10 toothpicks, right? So here we just form the patterns of squares, right? So as per the table, we found that for 1 square we require 4 toothpicks, for 2 squares we require 7 toothpicks, and for 3 squares we require 10 toothpicks. Now let's form a relation, okay? So what should be multiplied by 1 so that we get the answer as 4? Yes, we should multiply 1 by 4 so that we get the answer as 4. Now coming to 2 number of squares, right? Here we require 7 in the answer. Now, as you notice that since we have multiplied 1 by 4 in the first part, we will keep 4 as constant. That is, we will multiply 2 by 4. But what is 2 into 4? 2 into 4 is 8. But the answer required is 7. So we will minus or subtract 1 from 8. So we get the answer as 7. Similarly, for 3 number of squares, we require 10 toothpick. Now, as I said, we have to keep 4 as constant. So we will multiply 3 by 4. That is 12. But the required answer is 10. So what should be subtracted from 12 so that we get the answer as 10? Yes, we will subtract 2. So here we write it as minus 2. So we get the answer as 10. So here we notice that the number of squares or the value for the number of squares is changing. So we can term it as n. So here we notice that 4 toothpicks are required to form 1 square, and we have termed the value for the number of squares as n. So we can write the rule as 4n, right? Now coming to the second part. Now for 2 squares we require 7 toothpicks. How did you get the value 7? Yes, we multiplied 4 into 2 and then subtracted 1. So 2 is taken as n. So here the rule will be 4n minus 1. Similarly, for 3 squares we require 10 toothpicks, and we reach the value of 10 as 4 into 3 minus 2. So we can write it as 4n minus 2. Now children, just notice the rule, the values of the rule. First it is 4n, second it is 4n minus 1, and then it is 4n minus 2. It is different from the pattern of triangles, right? There the rule was 3n, but it was same for all the parts. Here the rule is different. But did you notice one thing? There is a pattern in this rule. What is that pattern? First it is 4n, or we can also say it as 4n minus 0. Then it is 4n minus 1. Then it is 4n minus 2. So there is a pattern. First it is 1 and then 2. Now the next number will be 4n minus 3. So yes, there are few patterns which have the pattern in the rule generated. Okay class, here we will take the example of the general rule that we formed from the patterns of triangle. The general rule was 3n. Now just notice 3n carefully. 3n is made up of 2 parts, that is 3 and n. The value of 3 is always fixed or it remains same. I cannot say that 3 is equal to 5 or 7 is equal to 11. The value of 7 will always be 7. So any number is termed as a constant. Now let's look at n. Now as we have taken the example of the patterns of triangle, there we named number of triangles as n because the value of number of triangles was changing. Yes, first it was 1, then 2 and then 3. So since the value of n is continuously changing or it varies, it is termed as a variable. So n or any alphabetical letter is termed as a variable. Now we will talk about algebraic expressions. Now what are algebraic expressions? Algebraic expressions are formed by a variable, a constant, or by the combination of two. So under algebraic expressions, we will talk about conversion of statement to an expression and vice versa, terms, factors and coefficients. So class, as you can see that I have two boxes in my hand, named as box 1 and box 2, and there are few shells in the box, right? Now if I say that the number of shells in box 1 are 4 more than the number of shells in box 2. Did you hear it carefully? I said that the number of shells in box 1 are 4 more than the number of shells in box 2. So here we are unaware of the number of shells in box 2. Yes? So when we don't know a value, we term it as x. Okay, so now we can say that the number of shells in box 1 is 4 more than the number of shells in box 2. So the expression we get for the statement is x plus 4. We learned how to convert a statement into an expression. Now let's learn the vice versa of it, that is how to convert an expression into a statement. So here, as you can see on the board, I have an expression 2a plus 4. Now how can I write it into a statement? Any guesses? Yes, I can write it as twice of a added to 4. Yes? Now is there any other way that I can write this expression as? Yes, I can also write this expression as 4 more than twice of a. Yes? So there can be one or more ways of expressing an expression into a statement form. Now we will be talking about terms under algebraic expression. Now what are terms? Terms are parts of an algebraic expression such as a variable, a constant, or it can also be a combination of both of the above. Here I have taken an example of 2a plus 4. This is an algebraic expression. Now what are the terms over here? Yes, there are two terms, that is 2a and 4. Now after terms, let's talk about factors. You have already studied about factors and multiples, right? Like we find the factors of a number. For example, factors of 10 will be 2 and 5. Yes, you are correct. Similarly, we can also find the factors of an algebraic expression. Here, I have taken an example of 7ab. Now, what will be the factors of 7ab? Let's write it. It will be 7a, 7b and ab. So, there are three factors for the algebraic expression 7ab, that are 7a, 7b and ab. Now, let's talk about coefficients. I have taken the same example, that is of 7ab. Now, if I ask you that what will be the coefficient of 7? Any guesses? It will be ab. Now, how did I find ab? I asked you to find the coefficient of 7. So, from the expression, if we neglect 7, the remaining part is ab. So, that will be the coefficient of 7, right? Similarly, if we need to find the coefficient of 7a, now from the expression, if we hide 7a, we are left with b. So, the coefficient of 7a will be b. Now, you all should answer, what will be the coefficient of 7b? Yes, the coefficient of 7b will be a. Very good. Okay students, just like numbers, we can add, subtract, multiply and divide algebraic terms. So let's start with addition. So here I have 4 different examples. So now let's start with the first one. It is sum of x and 2. Here x is a variable and 2 is a constant. How will we write this? It will be x plus 2. Now coming to the second example. Here it is sum of a and b. Here a and b are variables, but are they same? No, they are 2 different variables. So we will directly write it as a plus b. Now taking the third example, it is given as find the sum of 4x and 5x. Here we have a combination of a constant and a variable. But in this example, we can see that the variables are same, only the constants are different. How will we do this? We will write it as 4x plus 5x. Further, we have to add the constants because the variables are same. Yes. So 4 plus 5 and x. Now what is 4 plus 5? 4 plus 5 is 9. Yes. So the answer will be 9x. I hope I am clear. Now taking the fourth example. Here the fourth example says you have to find the sum of y and y. Here the variables are same. In the above example, we saw that the variables were different. So we directly wrote it as a plus b. Here we have same variables. Now what should we do? Right? So we can write y as 1y. Right? Because there is no coefficient for y. So we can write it as 1y. And the other y will also be written as 1y. Now, similar to the previous example where the variables were same, we added the constants. Here also, we will add the constants. So, 1 plus 1 is 2. So, the answer will be 2y. Now, let's talk about the second operation, that is subtraction. Similar to addition, the same rules apply for subtraction of algebraic terms. Here I have 3 examples for you. Let's do it one by one. First, it says that subtract b from L. So we will write it as L minus b. Now let's do the second example. It says that subtract x from 10. Here we have one constant and one variable. What is the constant among these two? Yes, is the numeric value, that is 10. So let's do the operation. Subtract x from 10, it will be 10 minus x. Now let's take the third example, which says that subtract 15y from 25y. Here you can notice that the 2 algebraic terms are the combination of a constant and a variable. But here we have same variables, that is y and y. Now how will we do the operation? We will do the operation for the constant part, right? So we will write it as 25 minus 15. Then we will write y outside the brackets. What is 25 minus 15? It is 10y. So we learned about addition and subtraction. Here the rules are same for both the operations. Now after addition and subtraction, let's learn about multiplication of algebraic terms. Now let's solve the first example. It says that find the product of 4 and a. 4 is a constant and a is a variable. So we can write it as 4 into a. Further we can write as 4a. Now let's take the second example. it says to find the product of A and C. These two are the variables. So as we did above, we will do it again. A into C, and we can write it as AC. We can neglect the multiplication sign, but we cannot do the same for addition and subtraction. Now let's do the last one. We have to find the product of 5x and 2y. Here we notice that it is a combination of a constant and a variable, and unlike addition and subtraction, here the variables also differ. So first we will do the operation for the constant part, that is, we will write it as 5 into 2, and then we will write the variable part, that is into x into y. So what is 5 into 2? It is 10. Now we can just copy the other variables, that is x and y. So the final answer for this will be 10xy. So students, under multiplication, now we will learn about power of variable. Now what is power of variable? Let us understand this topic with the help of an example. Here we have a question which says find the product of 7x and x. So you can notice that over here we have two algebraic terms with same variable, that is x. Now how to do this? First we will write the algebraic terms 7 into x into x, right? Now the power of x, there is nothing mentioned like 2 or 3, so we take it as 1. So now we will add the powers, that is 1 plus 1. So the power of x will become 2, or we can call it as square. So we can write it as 7x square. Now let's understand this topic in a better way. We will take another example. The question says find the product of 2a square and 3ab. Here we have two algebraic terms, right? And here we can see that a is common between both. So the power of a will be added. First we will write down the terms. This 2 into a square into 3a into b. Yes, here we see that there is no power for a, or nothing is mentioned, so we take it as 1, right? So now we will add the powers of a, that is 2 plus 1, which becomes 3, or we can call it as cube. So let's write a cube. Now we notice that b is also there, but b is all alone. So there is no need to add any powers, so we will directly write b. Now in this we have missed something, right? What is it? We have missed the constant. So we will multiply the constant. So 2 into 3 will be 6. So the answer will be 6a cube b. So students, now let's talk about the fourth operation, that is division of algebraic terms. So when we divide a variable by a constant or vice versa, we end up with a fraction. Now let's take an example. The question says divide x by 2. So x will be in the numerator and 2 will be in the denominator. So we will write it as x by 2. So as I mentioned earlier that when we divide a variable by a constant or vice versa, we get a fraction as the answer. Now let's do the next question. The question says divide a square b by ab. So we will write it as a fraction, that is a square b divided by ab, right? Now we will split the numerator, that will be a into b. Why did we write a 2 times? Because the power of a is 2 divided by a into b. Now we can cancel the common terms, that is, we can cancel A with A and B with B. A can be cancelled by A and B can be cancelled by B. So when we divide A square B by AB, we get the answer as A. Now let's do the next question. The question says divide 24 ABC by 12 AB. Right? We will write it in the form of fraction, that is 24 ABC divided by 12 AB. We will write it in two parts, that is 24 into A into B into C upon 12 into A into B. Now here we have the constants as well as the variables. So when we cut the common terms, we can cut a constant by a constant and a variable by a variable. We cannot cut a constant by a variable. That will go wrong. So here we can divide 24 by 12. Yes? What is 24 divided by 12? Yes, it is 2. Now can we cancel any other terms? Yes, we have A and B common, that are common in the numerator as well as the denominator. So we will cancel it. So the final answer will be 2C. So the answer for the question divide 24 ABC by 12 AB is 2C. Algebraic expressions have two types of algebraic terms, which are known as like terms and unlike terms. Now how do we differentiate between like terms and unlike terms? It is done on the basis of the variables. Now let's learn about like terms and unlike terms in detail. Like terms are the ones which have same variable. For example, 3x and 5x. Here the variable x is common between both the terms, and like terms are also the ones which have same variable with same power. For example, 10y square and 20y square. Here the variable, that is y, is common, and also the power of y, that is 2, is common between both the terms. Now let's talk about unlike terms. Unlike terms is completely opposite to like terms, that is, they have different variables. For example, 12a and 13x. Here the variables are different, that is a and x. Second, it is same variables with different power. In like terms it was same variable with same power. Under unlike terms it is same variable with different power. For example, 51x square and 11x. Here the variable x is common. But what is different? The powers are different. That is, in the first one it is x square, in the second one it is only x. So these are known as unlike terms. While doing the operations, like and unlike terms are considered while addition and subtraction. They have no importance during multiplication and division. So students, now we will learn about types of algebraic expressions. Type of algebraic expression depends upon the number of terms in the algebraic expression. So, on the basis of the number of terms, there are four types of algebraic expressions which are known as monomial, binomial, trinomial and polynomial. So, let's talk about monomial. Monomial expressions are the ones which have one term or one algebraic term in it. For example, x, 2y, 15abc. So here we can see that there is only one term, single term in each algebraic expression. Next we will move on to binomial. In binomial expressions there are two terms. For example, 2x plus y and 15a plus 12. Let's go to trinomial. Tri means 3. So, trinomial expressions have three terms in it. For example, 10x plus 12y plus 3a let's take another example. 17p square plus 18 square y plus 2a. Now let's go to polynomials. Polynomial expressions are the ones which have one or more than one term in it. For example, x plus 2y plus 4z plus 10a. Monomial, binomial and trinomial are parts of polynomial. So students, we learned about different types of algebraic expressions, right? Now we know the types of algebraic expressions. Now how can we find the value of these expressions? Let us learn about it. Here I have taken an example. We have to find the value of the expression 25x minus 10. And it is also mentioned that I have to take the value of x as 2. Now let's solve this question. We will write 25x minus 10, the given expression. Now the question has asked us to put the value of x as 2. So we will substitute the value of x as 2 in this expression. So in the place of x we will write 2. So 25 into 2 in the brackets minus 10. What is 25 multiplied by 2? Yes, it is 50. 50 minus 10. So our answer will be 40. So the value of this expression is 40 when x is taken as 2. So children, algebra is used in almost every aspect of mathematics. Here, for example, we have taken two major aspects of maths, that are properties and geometry. To solve mathematic problems, we need various properties. While studying whole numbers, you came across various properties, right? For example, commutative property. What is a commutative property? Yes, it is a plus b is equal to b plus a. So while studying this property, did you ever imagine why are we using alphabets and not numbers? Right? Because this is a general rule or a property. So we can see the use of algebra in properties. Now let's go to geometry. Geometry is all about formulas. We need the formula to find the perimeter of a certain figure or the area and the volume. Now let's take the example of perimeter of rectangle. What is the perimeter of a rectangle? Yes, it is 2 into length plus breadth. Here we can see the use of constant as well as the variables, right? There are two different variables, length and breadth. So even here there is use of algebra. So students, in today's video we learned about algebra. We learned that algebra is one of the branch of mathematics. We learned how to form rules from patterns. We learned about variables and constants. We learned about algebraic expressions. We did operations with those algebraic terms. Now what were those operations? It was addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. We also learned about like and unlike terms. We learned about factors, coefficients and types of algebraic expressions. Now what are the types of algebraic expressions? We learned about 4 types of expressions, that is monomial, binomial, trinomial and polynomial. We also learned about how to find the value of an expression with the help of a given value of the variable. In the end, we learned about the generalization of algebra, that is, algebra is used in almost every aspect of mathematics. We took into consideration 2 aspects, that were properties and geometry. So class, this is all for chapter 7, Introduction to Algebra. Thank you. Have a nice day.